Long ago, in the lands between two great rivers, the first cities rose from the dust of the earth. To the east lay Persia, a land of mountains and deserts, of proud horsemen who worshipped fire and light under endless skies. The king of Media, Astyages, had a dream that his grandson would one day overthrow him. Fear took root in his heart. He ordered the baby killed, but a shepherd found the infant on a hillside and raised him as his own son, not knowing he held a future king. The boy grew strong among the shepherds. His name was Cyrus, and even as a child, other children chose him as their leader in their games. When Cyrus was 10, his noble bearing betrayed him. The king discovered the truth, but his advisors persuaded him to spare the boy's life. Cyrus was sent away to live with his true Persian family. There, he learned the skills of war, the wisdom of the elders, and the burning desire to unite his people. When Cyrus became a man, he raised his banner against his grandfather's empire. The Persians, long subdued by the Medes, flocked to his side. On the plains of Pasargadae, the two armies met. 3 days they fought, and on the third day, the Medes laid down their arms and joined the man they now called king. Cyrus did something remarkable. Instead of enslaving the defeated, he honored their leaders and kept their customs alive, uniting rather than destroying. With Persia and Media united under one crown, Cyrus turned his gaze westward, toward the richest kingdoms the world had ever known. In Lydia, King Croesus was said to be the wealthiest man alive. His rivers ran with gold, and his capital, Sardis, glittered like a jewel in the Anatolian sun. Croesus asked the oracle of Delphi whether he should attack Persia. She replied that if he crossed the river, a great empire would fall. He did not ask which one. No army had ever fought through the Anatolian winter. But Cyrus marched anyway, his soldiers wrapped in furs, their breath freezing in the mountain air. He caught Croesus by surprise at the gates of Sardis. The city that had never been conquered fell in 14 days. Cyrus spared Croesus and made him an advisor. The Greek cities along the coast surrendered one by one, amazed that the conqueror treated them with respect rather than the whip. Now only one great power remained: Babylon, the jewel of Mesopotamia, with its hanging gardens, its towering ziggurats, and walls so thick chariots could race atop them. Babylon had never been taken by force. The Euphrates River flowed through its heart, and the walls were 100 feet high, guarded day and night. Cyrus studied the city for months. Then he ordered his engineers to dig canals, diverting the Euphrates so his soldiers could wade through the riverbed under the walls. On the night of a great Babylonian festival, while the city drank and danced, the waters fell. Cyrus's soldiers crept through the darkness beneath the towering gates. When morning came, The Babylonians woke to find their city taken without a single sword being drawn. Cyrus had conquered the unconquerable. Cyrus issued a declaration etched in clay, the first charter of human rights in history. Every people under his rule would be free to worship their own gods in their own way. He freed the Jewish captives who had wept by the rivers of Babylon for 2 generations, sending them home to Jerusalem to rebuild their temple with Persian gold. From the Indus River to the Aegean Sea, the empire now stretched across 3 continents, home to dozens of languages and hundreds of gods, all living in peace. Cyrus built a great road across his empire, with way stations every 15 miles and fresh horses always ready, so a message could travel from one end of the realm to the other in 7 days. He built his capital at Pasargadae, a city of gardens and fountains, of columned halls open to the sky, where water ran through stone channels to cool the summer air. Cyrus called himself King of Kings, but he ruled with a light hand. Each satrapy, each province, kept its own laws and customs, united only by loyalty to the great king. In his later years, Cyrus turned north to the steppes where the Massagetae lived, a fierce nomadic people led by their warrior queen, Tomyris. Tomyris sent a message to Cyrus. "Rule your own people," she said, "and leave mine in peace. It is not worth it to either of us." But Cyrus would not listen. On the banks of the river that marked the edge of the world, the 2 armies clashed. The Massagetae fought with a ferocity unlike any foe Persia had ever faced. Cyrus fell in battle, far from his gardens and the marble halls of Pasargadae. He had built the greatest empire the world had ever seen, but even kings cannot outrun their fate. Queen Tomyris found his body on the battlefield. She dipped his head in a wineskin filled with blood, saying, "You thirsted for blood. Now drink your fill." When the news reached Persia, the empire fell silent. The man who had freed slaves, who had built gardens and roads and a new kind of kingdom, was gone. They buried Cyrus in a simple limestone tomb overlooking his garden city, under the open sky he loved. Above the door, they carved words of eternal welcome. His son Cambyses conquered Egypt. His grandson Darius expanded the empire to India. But Cyrus's greatest gift was the idea that an empire could be built on respect, not terror. For 200 years, the Persian Empire was the center of the civilized world. Art, science, commerce, and philosophy flourished under its protection. The Greeks told stories of Persian wealth and power, of the King of Kings on his golden throne, of the immortals who guarded him, 10,000 strong, never changing in number. But empires rise and empires fall. Centuries later, a young Macedonian king named Alexander would look east and dream of conquering what Cyrus had built. Alexander would burn the great palace of Persepolis. Whether by accident or design, we still do not know. The columns still stand today, blackened by that ancient fire. And yet, the idea of Cyrus could not be burned. The Romans borrowed it. The Renaissance rediscovered it. The American founders read Xenophon's story of Cyrus as a model for leadership. Today, few remember Cyrus by name, but his shadow falls across 3,000 years of human history. The first king who chose mercy over vengeance, unity over division. If you stand on the plains of Pasargadae today, you can still feel the wind that Cyrus felt, sweeping down from the mountains across the ruins of his garden city. He believed a garden was the highest thing a human could create, a place of order and beauty in a chaotic world. An empire, to Cyrus, was just a very large garden, carefully tended. At night in Persia, the stars shine with a clarity that cities have forgotten. They look down on the same land that Cyrus walked, the same mountains he climbed as a boy. The Persians kept an eternal flame burning in their temples, never allowed to go out. In a way, the flame of Cyrus's vision has never gone out either. Close your eyes now. Imagine the gardens of Pasargadae, the sound of water in stone channels, the scent of cypress and jasmine, the cool evening air after a hot Persian day. Cyrus sleeps in his limestone tomb, under the stars he loved. And we, who remember his story, carry a small piece of his garden in our hearts. Good night.